So hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the EduphoreIAS analysis series. And today, as you know, the date is 15th of July, and we are starting with the Hindu first page or the front page. Fine. And quickly let us see. Okay. So quickly we will see the important news of the first page, and you know the most important news for the day is related to Chandrayaan 3. Right, successfully India Okay, so you see, successfully we have launched our Chandrayaan 3, the mission to moon. Fine. So you see, India's third, that's why Chandrayaan 3 lunar Odyssey. Odyssey is basically a long and adventurous journey. Fine. Commences with perfect launch. We have successfully launched it, but the most important part of this launch would be the soft landing, which is going to take place after somewhere 42 days. That is on August 23. And Honorable this ISRO chairman S. Somnathan has said that this soft landing is going to be, it would be around 15 minutes of time. Fine. So he said that the 15 minutes of terror. He used this phrase for soft landing, that is 15 minutes of terror. Okay. So why he used this word? Because soft landing is the most critical and important part of this whole mission. Remember. Fine. What exactly is a soft landing? We'll be discussing that. Okay. Firstly, let us a brief look over the news. Okay. So you see, spacecraft enters elliptical parking orbit. Now, what is parking orbit? One by one. So parking orbit, like you park your cars, your vehicles. So parking orbit is, if you have seen yesterday's this live demonstration of this launch. This spacecraft, when this satellite was launched, fine. So it went first with the speed, then firstly you see at the cost of this, this. So what happened? For the time being, it was there like in motion, like it was parked, fine. So it seemed like it is idle, fine, lying somewhere the way vehicles are parked. So we call it parking orbit. Means it's a temporary orbit, fine, where actually your satellite, remains in, let us say, stationary or idle position for a few minutes, minutes you can say, or seconds, and then after that it again, goes is thrust, and with thrust or with the speed it again, bends up its motion of moving forward. Fine, and ultimately next is soft landing. So what is soft landing? Remember, in this particular satellite we have 3: lander, rover and orbiter. Fine. So lander is actually going to land on the surface of the moon. Fine. Named as Vikram. Fine. So this lander, when it will be landing on the surface of the moon, it has been a soft landing. Why so? Because remember, now its speed is somewhere around 6,000 kilometers per hour, but once it reaches around 100 kilometers of distance to the surface of the moon, then it will have to reduce its speed, and finally in this 100 kilometer of speed, and will have to decrease to 0 in the 15 minutes of its soft landing. So that's why it has been referred to by the ISRO director as 15 minutes of terror. Fine, because this 15 minutes is very critical in the sense that there will be no control at all of ISRO during these 15 minutes. This soft landing would be autonomous, means the whole thing would be taken care of by the satellite, especially the lander called Vikram itself. Fine. Firstly, it will have to reduce the speed in let us say phases. After, when it will be reaching somewhere around, will be away 100 kilometers away from the surface of the moon, it will have to reduce its speed. Fine. After reducing its speed, it will again go to, let us say, 10 kilometer area. It will be reaching to the 10 kilometers away from the surface of the moon, and then finally this 100 kilometers will be reduced to just 100 meters. So we understand, which is likely on August 23, exactly 42 days after the yesterday's launch. Chandrayaan 3 is testament to our scientific relentless and dedication. Scientists' relentless dedication. This has been said by Honorable Prime Minister. We get this from France, because you know our Prime Minister is on 2-day visit to France. So Prime Minister Modi and President Emmanuel Macron bring the best style day celebration. The style day I have already explained. It's the same thing we actually concluded with USA, General Electric's jet engine. If you can recall, we had discussion related to where General Electric's General Electric of USA is going to co-develop, engine for jet engine with HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, for LCA kind of spacecraft, light combat aircrafts. Okay, so the similar thing you see again, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Fine. Going to next is Yamuna floods Rajghat, which is Supreme Court, of course. Yamuna's flooding, and Madras High Court was in favor of PD in centralized states. Okay, that is politics. So you can safely skip this. Let us quickly go back to the next pages. You see the cooperation that has been, taking the defense cooperation with this, you can say Pokhran, this Pokhran, you can say test of this, of course, nuclear test that we conducted in 1998. France was there in support of India. Fine. So we are having a good relation, especially defense relations. Like USA, we are to a great extent dependent on France as well for defense supplies, equipment and all. Okay, so these are your local pages from this Delhi, and you see the flood, Yamuna's flood all over. Okay, so these are your local pages. Moving to the next page, because here you have only politics. Fine. So let us quickly move to the important page, that is editorial. And from editorial, the most important thing that we need to discuss today, and that is about the summit, is virtual summit and virtual silence. You know that this time SEO may took place in a virtual mode. Fine. Not in physical this format. So virtual summit, virtual silence. Okay. So what is the context? First of all, the writer Vivek Arju is a retired Indian Foreign Service officer or diplomat. Fine. At a media briefing on July 4, India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Kwatra vehemently asserted that the fact that the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit was held virtually in no way signifies, hints, insinuates the dilution in the objective that we are trying to see on this summit. So he is saying that very vehemently, strongly, our Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra actually defended, you can say, or somewhere mentioned that SEO summit in virtual mode he did not disclose, however, any reason for not holding the summit physically or in hybrid mode. So this is the question of the writer, that why he did not disclose any reason for not holding this summit in physically or in hybrid mode. To emphasize India's commitment to the SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Iran has been inducted as a 9th permanent member of the SCO. We had discussion related to this. So Mr. Kwatra dwelt on the political, economic and cultural initiatives the country had taken and the 134 meetings and events which he had convened during its SCO presidency. This time India hosted the SCO summit, fine, as a president, and we are going to host this. We have this presidency of G20 group as well. So this year is particularly important for the two international organizations, SCO and G20. Fine, and of course you can expect question as well on this related to these two topics. So what Mr. Kwatra overlooked was the legitimate point. It is precisely because India had invested so much effort in the SCO that the summit should have being held physically or in a hybrid manner. So the focus or writer basically Vivek is emphasizing on the point that this summit should have taken place in either physical or hybrid mode, okay, instead of virtual. That would have imparted it greater salience, okay. So that would have given India greater salience, especially to the south. So Mr. Quadrat's failure to give even one credible meeting with the Chinese president, and therefore somewhere our prime minister would reach to let us say a modus vivendi, actually a mode of operation actually. So the Chinese president Xi Jinping on the contentious issues, even nowadays you see even have this confrontation at the borders, especially Doklam and post-Doklam, especially the dark side. So even today there are lots of build-ups around the borders in China, time and again, like to interfere in our this domestic issues alongside with its all-weather friend Pakistan. So which believe the Indian-China relation itself is, despite the SU origin and the influence exercised by the China over it, he enthusiastically went ahead with the India's full membership. Fine. So he is saying that even though Prime Minister was aware of this fact that this is a body led by China, and of course, still he enthusiastically not just participated in 2017 summit, but also tried to body itself as a full member or the permanent member. Okay. Next is China acts as a reason. Now what is this? So China's action towards India in 2020 and the evolving international order have obviously 2023 local issues. So order have obviously compelled a reappraisal of India's interest in the SU. This is evident from the point of not only holding a virtual summit but also Mr. Modi's combative assertiveness on the issues of concern to India, terrorism and connectivity. Okay, so China's actions and current relation with China, you see, we are not at good, all good terms with China today. So considering all these factors, it might be impossible that our Prime Minister chose to, host this summit in virtual mode instead of physical. Okay. And which passes through POK. So of course POK is a Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and which we do believe even we have this line of argument that of course it is integral part of Jammu and Kashmir. So it is indeed a territory of India itself. So somewhere it transgresses when some project like CPEC passes through, let us say, POK. So we do have reservation over this. So on terrorism, Mr. Modi said some countries that use cross-border terrorism as an instrument of their policies, provide shelter to terrorists. SCO should not hesitate to criticize such nations. There should be no concerns of terrorist groups using Afghanistan. So Afghanistan may be used as a launching pad by by terrorists, of course. So he is saying that this anniversary, China will hold the third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation. For him, the BI is the path of happiness benefiting the whole world. So this is what Xi Jinping said on the in his address at the summit, that on the BI's 10th anniversary, China will hold the third International Forum for International Cooperation, of course. And for him, the BI is the path of happiness benefiting the whole world. Okay, the BI and the Eurasian game. Eurasian, Europe, Eastern Europe basically, plus Asian, Central Asian and all countries. The BI's negative consequences have not inhibited the enthusiasm of its members for it. India therefore needs to be alive to the danger of China's integrating Eurasia and shutting it out of the region with Pakistan's active support. So writer is saying that somewhere India needs to be aware of this fact that China is integrating itself with Eurasian nations and shutting India out of this region called Eurasia with Pakistan's active support. Okay, this is not to suggest that India should endorse the BRI, which is an instrument of Chinese expansionism, but it has to find ways to maintain close ties with Eurasia. Certainly, the promotion of Buddhist heritage, however laudable the endeavor, will not help internal SCO members towards India and prevent their growing links with China. Okay, so this is a very good point by today's saying that even though we believe that we cannot compromise on our sovereignty issues, we cannot be part of this Belt and Road Initiative. That's a valid reason, but somewhere we need to find that there is one initiative undertaken by the government of India, and that is promoting the Buddhist circuit. Okay, so he is saying that the promotion of Buddhist heritage, okay, however laudable the endeavor is, of course this policy is a laudable one, but it is not going to make significant impact or attract the Eurasian nations towards India. Okay. Besides the Chabahar project, Chabahar port, of course, in Iran has not moved ahead as it needs to. India has to devote Chabahar port. We operate on the terminals of Chabahar port, so it has not moved as ahead as it needs to be. So therefore, India needs to devote us to develop resources and energy to develop connectivity through Iran, though it is not easy to integrate active air corridors with the Central Asian republics and a pragmatic policy towards Afghanistan. That does not mean that diplomatic and of Taliban are also essential to remain household continuously in the Eurasian game. So these are the important points which needs to be, which needs, considerable. Which needs to be considered in order to be a part of the Eurasian game. And what are those points? First is to devote sufficient time and resources and energy to develop connectivity through Iran. Fine, though it's not easy. Second point is active air corridors. Fine, with the Central Asian republics, like 5 towns. I have already told you how to remember the 5. Central Asian republics major generally comprises of 5 countries. जिसके पीछे काम लगता है. Fine, like Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. Okay, 5 countries. Fine, and pragmatic policy towards Afghanistan. We need to be pragmatic, have pragmatic policy towards Afghanistan as well. And India has indeed, moved on this front as well. Though it doesn't mean that having pragmatic policy for Afghanistan doesn't mean we are having or recognizing Taliban or opening diplomatic channels with Taliban. Fine. Okay. Next is a silence on the Ukraine war. Expectedly, the SCO declaration was silent on the Ukraine war. India, Pakistan, and China also did not refer to it in their summit statements. Russian President Vladimir Putin mentioned Ukraine and castigated the West. It is also noteworthy that he thanked SCO countries for supporting the Russian leadership in defending constitutional order in the wake of armed rebellion. Mr. Xi Jinping, who has been Mr. Putin's supporter during the entire period of the Ukraine war, made no reference of support for Russia in his summit statement. So you see how the game is being played at this level. The virtual summit ensured that Mr. Modi did not have to meet any of the leaders, including Pakistan's Shehbaz Sharif, Prime Minister of Pakistan, personally. That avoided ripples of the current SCO foreign ministers meeting generated in Goa in May 2023. The price, though paid in avoiding controversies and embarrassment, including what would have been caused by the optics of Mr. Putin in India, was in the demonstration of where India currently stands in Eurasia and its western neighborhood. So of course, he is saying that somewhere, taking into account all the points as valid, let's say, assume, but still, Mr. Putin's physical, attendance in India during this SCO summit would have been somewhere in our favor, and it would have somewhere sent a good optics, fine, or demonstrated that where India actually currently stands in the Eurasian game, fine, alongside its western neighborhood. So many eyes will now be on the BRICS summit in South Africa in August, where Mr. Xi and perhaps Mr. Putin will be present. Will Mr. Modi go to South Africa or prefer to avoid any chance of muddying the waters before this great moment in the diplomatic sun, that is G20 summit in Delhi in September? So this is the question left for to be addressed as this BRICS summit progresses, which is scheduled for the next month, that is August. going to take place in Africa, in South Africa at this time. Okay, BRICS. So this would be, we'll be keeping tab on this, whether our Prime Minister, is attending in physical this BRICS summit in South Africa or not, because this would set a tone for upcoming presidency of the G20, which we are going to host in September, the very next month after the BRICS summit. Fine. So we'll be keeping tab on this. A very good piece of article. Please do read and revise the same. Okay. Moving quickly to the next pages. Okay. Bulletin ballots. Got that. Okay. Murshidabad, yes, we know, of course, but during the Punjab election, a lot of things happened here. So we're not to the politics, let's say. Okay, Jaishankar raises outstanding issues along LSE with China's top diplomat. So China is, our external affairs minister meets Wang Yi along the Silence of East Asia Summit in Jakarta, Indonesia. In earlier meeting with Chinese side, Jaishankar had called for Beijing to take forward disengagement of troops in the two remaining friction points. So external affairs minister conceived meeting with the Chinese diplomat Wang Yi, who heads the Communist Party Central Commission for Foreign Affairs. So he's a very, very, you can say, China's top diplomat, because he heads the Communist Party, the ruling party of China's Central Commission for Foreign Affairs. Okay, so this is a very, very important, you can say, somewhere message. Communicated by our Honorable Finance Minister, this Foreign Affairs Minister, to the top diplomat of China. Okay, apart from that, India, France said to co-develop joint engine, we have already discussed it. India contingent, okay, in Paris to sign and such, okay. So our contingent also taking part in on Nationals Day of this France, right? Okay, alongside that, remember our Prime Minister after Egypt, he received in Egypt the highest order of the Nile. Here again, our Prime Minister has become the first Indian Prime Minister to be awarded or to be honored with the Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor, France's highest civilian and military honor. Like we have the Bharat Ratna, so kind of a similar, award which was conferred on our Prime Minister called Grand Cross of the Legion of Honor. That is France's highest civilian and military honor. Fine. So remember this much. Okay. And remember earlier. So our Prime Minister joined the ranks of world leaders such as former South African President Nelson Mandela and former German Chancellor Angela Merkel, among others, who had already received this honor from France. Okay. Okay, moving to the next page. Some miscellaneous facts from the prelims exam point of view, important for the prelims. And this again, you see, this figure is very, very important. This image is very, very important for us. It is giving you a snapshot of the whole mission. So success of Chandrayaan 3 people gives Gaganyaan a leg up. So Gaganyaan, we are in the process to launch our Gaganyaan called Aditya L1, in which we are planning to send, this man to the sun, of course. So of course, we are in plan to send almost 2-3 astronauts to the sun. So Gaganyaan, after Chandrayaan, so of course the successful launch of Chandrayaan will be like a boost for us while moving in the direction of launching the Gaganyaan. Gaganyaan is expected to demonstrate India's manned space flight capability. LPM Project Director Mohan Kumar said the human-rated S-200 solid strap on motors have been used again, and the LM-L2O Vikas engine has also become human-rated. Okay. So LPM-3, this is the vehicle which has been used for launching this Chandrayaan 3, that is called Launch Vehicle Mark 3, to be used for the upcoming Gaganyaan mission. The same, this LMV-3 successful launch of the Chandrayaan 3 on Friday came significant, and it has further enhanced the reliability of the launch vehicle, because the same LVM series of launch Gaganyaan mission as well. So destination moon finally we are focusing on. Chandrayaan 3 consists of lander module, a propulsion module, PM and a rover. So these are the three modules under our Chandrayaan mission 3. The name 3, so 3. Propulsion basically between thrust, or you can say of course fuel. You can see these are the three stages. Bottom is liquid stage, then C25 cryogenic stage, and payload fare. Finally, right? This much will be separated later on, and this is how the things are going to be separated. Chandrayaan 3 spacecraft, then rover mission life, one lunar. You can see this much, and this is how the Chandrayaan 3 is going to, make soft landing on the surface of the moon. So it was launched by the LVM-3M4 on July 14. This is a launch vehicle basically. The integrated module comprising LM3. Of course, integrated module will comprise all three modules, that is your lander, Vikram, propulsion module, PM, fine, and further rover, Vikram. Lander, rover, and propulsion. Three modules. Was placed in elliptical parking orbit, EPO of size this much. So launch vehicle LVM-3M4, height you can see this much, 43.5, propulsion module PM. Mass total you can see 2145 kg, power, payload just one, lander, mission life 1 lunar day, that is 14.5 days. So 1 lunar day means 1 दिन चंद्रमा पे is equivalent to 14 days on Earth. Mass is this much, and power and payload is 4, total payload. So integrated module phase, you can see the integration of all three modules, that is lander, rover and propulsion. So you see at 100 km circular lunar orbit, this is a moon, lunar orbit insertion, and this is Earth, how the trajectory of this mission will be. Fine, lunar transfer trajectory, satellite separation. So these are your three stages. First is L110, C25, and then this one. So you see here. Okay. So finally you see how this is going to make S20 ignition, then separation, separating these three boosters to boosters from the final this rocket and burning phase. Separation automatically will be separated. This will be separated like this, and then final separation, ignition again, separation, lunar transfer trajectory, and then finally it will be orbiting to the Earth's. And then Chandrayaan 3 will follow the same trajectory as its predecessor, that is Chandrayaan 1 and 2. The propulsion module will orbit the Earth several times before slingshotting towards the moon. Once within the moon's gravitational pull, the module will lower itself to 100 into 100 km circular orbit. Fine. Subsequently, the lander will detach and descend to the surface and will make soft landing. Fine. Distance between Earth and Moon is of 3.84 lakh kilometers. When the lander will land on the moon, the landing is scheduled for August 23, 24. More difficult. And operate for 1 lunar day, that is 14 days, Earth equivalent to 14 days. So this is the whole story related to your. So you see we have S200 solid rocket booster. Fine. This side. We have two boosters, this one and this one, which will be separated during this phase. Fine. Here it will be separated. Fine. So this is the whole story of your Chandrayaan 3 mission. How it is going to make soft landing on the surface of the moon. Fine. We had already discussed that two additional judges have been appointed as the common judge of the Supreme Court. Okay. Next. Okay. Not that important. I mean, we have landed on the international page. Okay. In Jaiba, China, Blinken is the State Secretary, of course, of US, rallied the ASEAN countries against caution. So he has rallied or advocated in the favor of ASEAN countries against China. So US Secretary of State says countries must uphold Yeah, earlier, yesterday only we had discussion, we just began our discussion. In the meantime, due to technical issue, we had to stop our class. So that article was of course related to South China Sea, and of course this is the context to this, South China Sea as well. That the US Secretary of State says country must uphold the freedom of navigation in South and East China Sea and seas and maintain peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. He meets Chinese Wang Yi but shuns Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. So he met to Chinese, top diplomat. Excuse me. He met China's Wang Yi, but this is the whole issue. So of course he was in Jakarta to attend Indonesia to attend the East Asian Summit, fine. And East Asian, of course, is an 18-nation East Asia Summit. 18 members block actually East Asian Summit. Right? Apart from this, our foreign ministry is also there to attend this East Asian Summit. Okay. Apart from this, goods exports slide 22% to 8 months low, you see. So now the issue is related to exports, especially merchandise exports. So June merchandise exports, that is goods exports, fall to almost $33 billion. Imports dipped by 70.5%. Even as gold imports resurged, trade deficit narrowed by 0.8%. Because imports has fallen, so of course when both are falling, so of course somewhere the gap is narrowing or reducing. So dipping exports, Indian exports have declined over many months now due to slower demand from the US and Europe. Growth slowdown and interest rate increases to curb inflation have dented demand in key markets in the West, but lower commodity prices have helped cut the import bill and keep the trade deficit in check. June marked the 7th time in 9 months that India's merchandise exports have declined. So out of 9 months, total there are 7 months or number of total 7 months where we see that actually our goods or merchandise export actually fall. Fine. But since our imports is also falling or dipping or slowing down, so therefore somewhere your mismatch between exports and imports, that is the trade deficit actually narrowing down. Okay, and this has been happened because of the global commodity pricing somewhere what easing. Okay, so this is the issue related to merchandise or goods export. Okay, WPI remains in deflationary territory for third month. So yesterday we had this, day before yesterday we discussed about the CPI inflation. Now about WPI, wholesale price index, remains in deflationary territory for third month. Okay, so we see that of course somewhere contraction again, quickening to minus 4.12% from minus 3.48%. So it has been in deflationary zone, therefore in the negative territory, right? Not in the positive territory. So the sharpest contraction in headline wholesale pricing in about 8 years was largely due to the base effect, as inflation based on the wholesale price index was 16.2% in June 2022. So base effect coming to the picture when your previous year, let us say in June 2022, you had this wholesale inflation rate of 16.2%, but today let us say it is somewhere in the in the range of, let us say, 13%. So of course, if you compare this year's June's 2023 figure with the June 2022, so of course you have somewhere base effect compared to base, you have lesser WPI, right? So this is contraction of this much of percentage. So some food items such as milk, cereals, pulses and wheat reported inflation in the range of 8 to 9%. Vegetables which posted 22% inflation year on year. However, stock price surged 13.2% month to month. You see, even day before yesterday we had 3 things: cereals, pulses and tops, basically primarily the tomato prices. So you see the 3 actually driving your food prices. Okay, so that's the reason. But this is a good thing that somewhere WPI is also in the deflationary zone or territory, and even CPI is in the range of RBI's target of 6%. Means it's not, it was somewhere 4.48%, but not 6%. So below this range, high is 6%. Okay, apart from that, let us move to the next page, and you see PSU banks were up less than decimal if you bond issue. Okay. Fail me asked to consider imposing custom review in Chinese system. Okay, not yet imposed, but consider it. Apart from that, you have this. Finally, you have landed on the sports page. So that was it. That's it from in my side as far as today's editorial this Hindu discussion is concerned. Because on Saturday generally we find there are lots of editorial or especially the explainer things to discuss. Fine. So even Hindu is on a weekend mood. So fine. Whatever important things were there from today's newspaper, we have discussed everything. If you have any query, anything, you can put the same in the comment section. Until then, take care. Keep revising the same. Fine. And stay tuned for the Monday Hindu analysis. Thank you.